What's going on, Fleb family? So, Khalil Thomas here. If you guys are brand new, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to start your mobile phlebotomy business literally in these specific steps, okay? So, it's going to be like a 7-step process to where we're going to jump into each one and the importance of it so that you're understanding where to start with your mobile phlebotomy business, where you are with your mobile phlebotomy business, and what we need to keep advancing on, okay? So this is it. Take a screenshot of it because again, once I break this all down, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like all this time, this is all I needed to do to start my mobile phlebotomy business. Okay. So let's go over here to this first area. And the first area is going to be, the first area is going to be the phlebotomy identity. All right. So before you start your mobile phlebotomy business, you're going to need a identity. Okay. People need to know why you started this mobile phlebotomy business. So you're going to be in a situation to where people may ask you, what's the purpose? Why did you start it? What's the reasoning? And if you say, for my kids, for financial freedom, to put my kids through college, like all of that seems like it's just for you, So it's not a business that's going to be for the people, for others, right? So people are going to support you if you do it for others, for the people, if you serve, okay? So your phlebotomy identity is going to be the first thing. And within the identity, you're going to have a storyline. And when you have your storyline, you'll be able to know exactly, what type of story you want to create to build trust with your audience because they're going to say, hey, I can relate to you because we have the same story. So that's going to depend specifically on your experience with a disease or something that that patient may be going through, right? And that's going to be where your niche comes about because, again, we need to know our identity, and we know our identity will have a storyline so that we can talk about it with our niche. And that niche is going to be whatever it is that you're going to be focusing on. So when you start your mobile phlebotomy business, you're going to have many niches out there. A lot of the times when you start a phlebotomy business, they will have it to where you just don't have a niche. You just say, hey, I want to offer blood work services to patients, right? And if you don't focus on a demographic or a population, it's just really hard to market your service because you're offering all these things, DNA, DOT, kit draws you're doing, maybe rapid testing. So there's a lot of tests that you're doing because you don't have a niche you're focusing on with your mobile phlebotomy business. So when we make it focused on one specific disease or population, it makes it so much easier for us to market this phlebotomy business because we know who we want to target. So for instance, if we wanted to target cardiovascular patients, we can target smokers, we can target obese patients, we can target patients that are, just have a lifestyle where they don't eat, the best food, or, they're stationary, they don't move. Like those are going to be specific niches based on that disease. So if you have a person that, has a heart problem or, cardiovascular issues, they're more susceptible for these specific things. Okay. Hope that makes sense. It's almost like where you go and look at Sneak Peek. Sneak Peek only deals with gender reveal, right? You don't see them talking about HIV testing, cancer testings, any other test outside of DNA testing, which helps a mother know what the sex of their kid is, okay, if it's a boy or a girl, okay? So that's what niche is, okay? So again, when we have our identity, all right, because you're going to have 4 different types of identity: the phlebotomy leader, the phlebotomy adventurer, reporter, and then the reluctant hero. And then you'll be able to talk about your storyline and then your niche that's going to be related to that storyline and your identity. And then we're going to talk about the demographics, which means we're going to be talking about people that are affected with that specific niche in your area. And this helps you get data for your mobile phlebotomy business because you're now understanding how many people are being affected with that specific disease in your area. And that helps you now have data for your demographics because, again, as you're starting this phlebotomy business, you're not going to be starting this business to where you have it, let's just say, marketing in California, but you're in New Jersey. It wouldn't make any sense because you can't even see any patients in California because you're in the New Jersey area, right? So it's good to market and start off with your specific county first, and then you work into your city and then your state in that specific order. It just makes it so much easier for you to get patients, to get clientele that's going to be close to you so that you're in that driving vicinity and that distance. So you're not super far. Like, why are we marketing, 90 miles out when there's people around the corner or down the street that are wanting the same exact service, but they don't see it because we're not marketing it because we just don't understand how to market. You guys don't want to, target your whole state first and your whole city. And I'm like, no, just do your county first so that it's easier for you to navigate getting clientele in a closer area. And also your demographics are going to tell you what the high is. So if it's a high cardiovascular outbreak, if it's high STDs, if it's a high syphilis outbreak, whatever that thing is, or whatever that disease is, based on that demographic, we're going to make that our target niche. So if you can't find a niche, that's one way to find it, is by using your specific county's demographics or statistics, disease statistics, so you're able to know exactly what's being affected in that specific area. And it's going to be helpful because, again, this is what we add into our VSL, which is our video sales letter. And that's going to help us not only break down our identity, our backstory, our niche, but now we're telling people why we're doing this for a cause, why we're doing this for a purpose, a mission. And it's here, okay? Because not only have a loved one may have, battled this disease that you're talking about or focusing on, but it's also happening in my county, and this isn't normal. This isn't right. It needs to be handled better, okay? We need to bring our numbers down. We need to be able to save lives and catch diseases at early benign stages. So this is where your voice comes into play, okay? So that's going to be the first portion, with your phlebotomy identity, because, again, we got to be able to tell people why we started this phlebotomy business in the first place, okay? And that's where it's going to start. The next one's going to be creating some lab panels. So you're the phlebotomist, you got this storyline, you know who you are with your identity, you created your niche, you know who you want to focus on, you know your demographic populations and who's being all affected with this disease. So now we're going to create some lab panels, okay? So there's a website called Rupa, and there's going to be a video on how to actually, apply for Rupa and, set lab accounts up. Super easy. But based on your specific niche, that's going to determine what lab panels you create. So if you're going to be dealing with cardiovascular, and I just do that because it's the easiest one just to understand, we'll do a lipid panel, okay, for a patient, right? So we can create that panel, and then we can also create a CRP high sensitivity, right? So we're going to create these lab panels as a solution for the problem that we're seeing in our specific area or our demographics. So if our demographics are saying that we have a high rate of cholesterol issues, we have a solution so that we can catch it before it becomes a cardiovascular disease or a stroke or any type of heart issues, okay? So the problem is this, and we have a solution, but they're only going to see or hear the solution if you tell your story. Your story is the bridge between where a patient is to where they need to be. So once they hear your actual story, they're going to cross that bridge and go over to where they need to be. But you need to be able to inspire these customers, these patients, your audience with your lab work services, okay? Next is going to be your lab stack. So you've gotten all of your lab panels all created. Now we got to create an enticing offer to our patients now, okay? Because a lot of the times when people want to buy lab work services from phlebotomists, a lot of the times people will say no only because you're not adding value to your specific offer. If you just say, hey, I charge $150 for lab work services, book an appointment, no one's going to buy that, right? So we got to be in a situation to where we have value on top of our specific offer, which then tells a person, hey, we're getting more than just a blood work. We're getting this, we're paying for that. It's coming with this, you know what I mean? So for instance, we can have it to where with our phlebotomy services, it comes with a certified phlebotomist so that you can get drawn just one time. We'll also have shipping and handling because we're partnering with FedEx and UPS. So we'll have your specimens sent over to the laboratory in an orderly fashion. All of our phlebotomists are also equipped with centrifuges so that we can make sure that the integrity of the sample is safe once we do the processing. And that'll all come up to a value of $560. But we're actually doing a special offer today to where we're not having you pay that amount. We're going to actually have you pay $97, okay? So bam. So you see how you add all that value into your specific offer, and then you gave them a big price on the value, but you chopped it off, and then you presented the offer that you absolutely do want, okay? I have a training on that, so don't you worry. You'll have that. I'm just going over an overview of it all, okay? So that's going to be your lab stack. So once we have our lab stack, we're going to have this thing called a VSL script. So this is going to be your video sales letter, okay? So this is where we use a Russell Brunson's VSL script so that when a person sees your videos, like a video sales letter, they'll be able to see your story, hear your story, and kind of relate to you when you are speaking about your story, okay? where'd you come from, your identity, what your niche is, your demographics, why you're doing this for your county. Like all that's going to come to play, okay? Because you're placing this all together now in your VSL script. Why you started this business, what's the problem that's happening, and what's the solution? And the solution is right here, okay? You are creating these lab panels for these patients to help stop a disease or to catch a disease early on versus waiting until the last minute. You see? Once we have the VSL script done, I'll have a business plan video so you guys can have and just understand how the plan all works because we're now creating a plan. Okay, we know what our demographics is, we know who our target audience is, we know who our niche is. So all that's going to come in this business plan. Next is going to be your expenses breakdown. So this is where we talk about our expenses. So everyone has to know what their expenses are to know exactly if they're making money, losing money, or breaking even. But not only that, it'll also help you know how to price for your services. So now we'll be able to know how many patients we need to see per day, per month, and per week. Okay. So once we know that, we'll be able to make it easier for us to hit our goals and understanding exactly how many patients we need to see at what price point. Also, once we know our expenses, we can know exactly how much to charge for lab work services per collection. So, for instance, let's just say if we have a goal of $5,000 and our expenses added up to like 1,200, okay? So now we are at what, $7,200 that we need to make every single month to cover our expenses and to cover our specific goal that we want. Out of the 7,200 now, what we need to do is divide it by how many patients we want to see, right, in that month, and that'll let us know exactly how much we need to charge per services. So try it out if you want to. So 7,200 and divided by how many patients you want to see in the month. Ask yourself that. And if you want to do, let's just say, I don't know, 65, you divide 7,200 divided by the 65, and that'll let you know how much you need to be charging per collection or per service, okay? So play around with the numbers. You can do 65 patients a month, you can do 85 patients a month, but you'll see how the numbers are changing the more patients you are wanting to do in that month. So it all is going to fluctuate, okay? Good. So next is going to be going over our phlebotomy business setup. Look, we're flying through this, guys, okay? So we just went through this section and this section in like 12 minutes. And now we're about to jump right in here to the phlebotomy business setup, okay? So now is going to be understanding DAT. DAT is direct access testing. So once you understand it, you'll be able to master it and know how to promote it to your audience that don't understand DAT because they'll say, hey, don't you need a doctor's referral and you need to have, a laboratory, and some people just don't understand it. So when you explain it to them and tell them that direct access testing allows us to offer patients lab testing without a doctor's referral, they'll be educated, okay? And you'll be educated once you know this stuff if you don't know it already. Of course, you're going to get your business name. So once we come up with that name, we'll know exactly, what type of branding we want to do, what type of logo, what type of, if you wanted to add a mascot for your business. So I say when we know our business name, when we know our niche, we'll know our business name even more. So for instance, I tell you guys, whenever you get your niche, it'll be easier for you to find a business name. So if you are having a niche on cardiovascular testing, let's just say if you were to start a phlebotomy business and you now call your phlebotomy business Cardiac Labs to Go, or Heart Sticks Mobile Phlebotomy, or um, you know, uh, uh, Heart Stick and Go LLC, something like that, right? But you see how, in order for you to come up with a business name, and this is not all the time, because again, you can have a business name for something that you've been thinking about for years, okay? So don't think about it too much, but I want you to know that there are ways to come up with a business name for your mobile phlebotomy business. And one is by you just having one that you've been holding on and you wanted to, have it as your name, that's fine. Or if you don't have one, you want to, come up with one, you can say, hey, my mobile phlebotomy business is related to cancer patients. So I can call my phlebotomy business Oncology on the Go or Cancer Labs LLC, but you get creative with it, okay? I have a video training on that specifically, so you can kind of use AI to help you out with these business names for your phlebotomy business too, okay? So next is going to be your address. So we're going to be doing an address as well. So now for your address, phlebotomist, I want you to more so think about what you can't do versus what you can do. So that your business address is going to be not your home address because that's going to be public information. Sorry, you got trucks driving by. But that's going to be public information, so we don't want that to be, out there, your home address. So we're going to change it to a virtual address. So you're going to use one of two options for your virtual address. One is going to be Opus, and the other one is going to be called Regus, Regus, so that we can have a business address. Okay, and this is going to be easier for you to partner with laboratories because they're going to require you to have a actual business address so that you're able to, get equipment sent to you, packages, etc. Okay, because they will not send it to your home address only because of liability issues. All right, so no PO boxes, no iPostal. Sorry, we cannot use those specific address companies. Okay, so use Regis or Opus for your mobile phlebotomy business, and then when we do that, we can then start to apply for our LLC. You can do LegalZoom, and again, I have a video training for you to teach you how to actually, apply and the steps that you need when applying for your LLC. The things that we're looking for is going to be your articles of organization, which is, pretty much letting banks know when you do apply that you are a registered business. Okay, so we want to be able to have that once we apply for our LLC. So make sure you have your articles of organization whenever you do get your LLC, and also include your EIN number. Make sure you have that. Okay, so they're going to try to sell that to you on certain websites, but you can get it for free going to the irs.gov website, and it'll pop up for you to actually get your EIN number. So super easy, super quick. You're going to need it for you to open up bank accounts with your mobile phlebotomy business. Okay. Next is going to be your domain, email, and telephone number. So you can get a domain from so many different places, okay, including your email and telephone number. I'm going to tell y'all where to get it all in one place. It's going to be called Go High Level. Now, before you even go over and buy it, wait, because I'll have a link for you guys to actually purchase, because we have a white label for phlebotomists. So you can go in here and literally get it up and running, okay, for your mobile phlebotomy business, okay, because you need a CRM, okay. Phlebotomists started businesses for years, for decades, and they never had a system at all. This is why it never worked out for a lot of phlebotomy companies. But now we're creating a system and understanding a system so that we can know how to input our patients into the system with our mobile phlebotomy business, okay? So it's going to be all on GHL. I have a video so you can know exactly where it is, how to function it, and get your own domain, your email, and also your telephone number. And the telephone numbers are fairly cheap. They have the local numbers and then also the toll-free 1-800 number. So there's options to kind of play around with for your phlebotomy business. Okay. Logos and brochures, phlebotomists. Listen, you can get a logo done in like 5 minutes, not even and I've done this many times using AI, just describing your specific logo, the character, the branding, like all of that's going to be done in literally like 5 to 10 minutes. Just come up with an idea and then talk about it into AI. You can either use ChatGPT or you can use Canva to literally bring these logos and brochures to life. Okay. Again, we want to make sure that these logos, speaks to your audience and it reflects your business branding. Okay. Your MPI and DUNS, obviously you're going to need both of them. MPI is going to be your National Provider Identification Number. Our taxonomy code is going to be 246RP1900X. Okay. So that's going to be for your MPI number. And obviously for your DUNS, just go to the dnb.com so that you can start getting some business credit for your mobile phlebotomy business. Okay. And it has so many different benefits with the DUNS number, especially if you wanted to get into government contracting and getting contracts. They're going to, to require your DUNS number and of course your cage code and just a lot of things that's going to be required, but it all falls underneath that DUNS number. So make sure you get that. Okay. All right, so now we have that section done. Here's the easiest one right here. All right, this is going to be your equipment and vendor section. So believe it or not, y'all, listen, if you start your phlebotomy business like right now, you can literally get equipment for free. Like, boom, like for free. And of course, we're going to have vendors here that you can like check out and stuff like that, because in case you wanted to get some equipment just to, have some backup, totally respect it, totally understand. It's just one of those things to where we can start a phlebotomy business right now and don't have any equipment and still be successful. How and why? So when you partner with laboratories like Rupa Health, where we have so many different types of vendors that's partnered with that specific network, they're going to have it to where when a person or a customer orders services from us, okay, when we create those kits, it's going to come with the gauze, the needles, the gloves, tourniquet, like everything is going to come into that kit. So why am I spending money on all this equipment when a patient pays for my kit and it comes with it all? So I don't ever have to touch my equipment unless I need backup, or maybe you missed a draw, or maybe the gloves are too small, right? But here are some vendors that we can utilize. So one is going to be Cardinal Health. You can go and get phlebotomy equipment from them, or Pulmo Labs, Pulmo labs.com. And Kabbalah Scientific is another one, Cabala scientific.com. So these are places that you can get your phlebotomy equipment from. But again, when you start this business and we're doing the whole kit draws and creating kits for patients using panels, we really don't need a lot of equipment, because again, they're providing it for us, to our patients, as they're drop shipping it over to our patients. Sorry, tongue twisted. But that's going to be it for the equipment portion. And then for your sharps, because you're going to have a lot of needles in your biohazard containers, so we're going to make sure that we're dumping them in the right place. Okay, so there's going to be a place called Stericycle. You can actually contact them. So where they actually send you out these cardboard boxes for you to ship back your sharps to them. Okay, very safe. It's a reputable, business, Stericycle. Or if you have relationships with laboratories that you have drop off, or you do drop offs for, like for instance, I have like 5 laboratories that I'm really, really close with, even some hospitals that I'm really, really close with, to where if I have my sharps and it's completely full, I'll just go by and just say, hey, can I drop these off to, get rid of my dirty needles? And they have no problems, no issues. They say, hey, Khalil, yeah, come on back here, drop them off, and just keep moving from there, So simple, straight to the point, okay? So equipment is free, or you can buy, some extra equipment just for backup. So now we are in the CRM training. So the CRM training is going to be for your customer relationship management system. Okay, so this is how we enter patients' information in, have a calendar schedule, have a workflow, automations, funnels. So we're going to learn the foundations of everything, just uploading everything, your numbers, so that we can keep track of everything. That's going to be in the foundations portion. Then funnels. Funnels are going to be better than websites, in my personal opinion. Funnels work like a journey for a patient. I tell people all the time, whenever you buy like a U-Haul truck, what's the next thing they're going to ask for you to pay for, right? It's going to be the insurance for the insurance for the U-Haul truck. After you pay for the insurance for the U-Haul truck, what are they going to ask for then? There's going to be a dolly to transport the furniture to the actual, U-Haul truck from the house. So they're giving you like a journey. Okay, websites really don't provide that because it's so much information everywhere, versus a patient journey utilizing a funnel for your mobile phlebotomy services. So almost like the U-Haul truck, but we're now doing it for lab tests, and this is how it works. So let's just say you were to offer a lipid panel to a patient. That's the first thing you buy. And let's just say the upsell was a vein finder, okay, for an additional $8. Or it could be numbing wipes for an additional $3, okay? I'm just throwing numbers out there. But you're seeing how the journey is. You came in for one thing, but you're being told and sold other things that's related to the original thing that you purchased. Okay, so it has to complement that original thing you purchased. Same thing for airline tickets. You buy an airline ticket, the next thing they're going to sell you on is the baggage for the airline ticket, then the seat on the plane for the airline ticket, then insurance for the actual plane ticket. You see how this works? So that's a funnel. Websites won't and don't provide that. All right. Next is going to be automations. Automations is my favorite because you're now setting things up automatically, meaning you ain't got to do the work, okay? So you could be asleep, and then things are being done while you are asleep. So when you wake up, you got a lot of things done. Things were sent over to your customers and patients, and it's been done automatically, okay? So almost like how you guys, or some of you guys, go to my Instagram page and I tell you guys to comment the word masterclass and join my masterclass, and then you get a DM with the link and you click on it and you register. That's an automation. So imagine if I were to put an ad out there for people, hundreds and thousands of people to come and get, to my page, right? And I put money in the ads, and then it's going while I'm sleeping. And then I wake up and I see all these people sign up, right? It's done because I set an automation up because someone commented something and a trigger happened to where now they're getting all these things done without me having to do it manually. So it just saves so much time doing things with automations. Okay. So one of the automations that we will be using is ManyChat, ManyChat, ManyChat. And once we do ManyChat, we're going to have it to where that automation is automatically sent over to that specific customer, okay, depending on what that trigger word is, okay. We'll get more into that a little bit later, but just so you guys can have an idea, you're going to understand how workflows work. So when a new patient sets an appointment up, your phlebotomist will be alerted for them to now comment the word confirm if they want this patient draw. So you don't have to do it every time a person makes a payment. So if a patient makes a payment, you don't have to do it manually. Oh, let me message Roger or Sarah if they want this specific, person or customer. We don't have to do that. We'll just have it to where, hey, once the person makes payment, I want this thing to automatically happen. So the trigger is when a customer makes a payment. That's the trigger. So what we are going to, what's going to happen on our end is when that person comments, when that person makes a purchase for lab work services, the automation is triggered, and now our phlebotomists are going to get the patient's information, and all they need to do is comment the word confirm so that they're able to claim that specific patient. Okay, so that's like automations. Okay, and we're going to go so deep into automations. Okay, almost done, guys. Next is going to be the phlebotomy funnels, of course, and just understanding traffic. Where do they come from? So, of course, social media, podcasts, interviews, different types of lead magnets. So traffic is what we want to come to our page so that we can get conversions to happen. Okay. So traffic's going to happen, and then we're going to have this thing called lead magnets. Okay. Lead magnets are things that you're going to be giving away so that you can magnetize your customers to your page, giving them freebies, values, PDFs, checklists, video trainings, whatever. But this is now a lead magnet that we created value for our customers so they can move forward with getting lab work services from us when we present our core offer after they come into our opt-in page for getting our free thing. All right. So once they get our free thing, they're going to see our core offer, and now we have, a chance to get a sale, okay, for our phlebotomy services. Okay. And again, it works just like this. So traffic, we get traffic, we create a lead magnet. They're interested. They want this lead magnet. They're going to go into our opt-in page. They're going to opt in. They're going to give us their first name, their last name, their email address. Okay. They opted in. Now we have their contact on our back end. And then they're going to automatically be sent to that core offer. So let's just say that core offer is a lipid panel. All right. The lipid panel is going to be that core offer. Nothing else is going to be talked about. No CRP, no homocysteine, nothing else but that core offer, which is the lipid panel. Once the patient digests all that information and they say, hey, I want to move forward, I want to get it. Okay, great. We're going to do this thing called an upsell. So, hey, thank you so much for purchasing the lipid panel. How about you get the CRP high sensitivity to see if there's any inflammation going on in your beautiful veins, something like that. But again, we're going to have an upsell now because that person purchased our original order. Now you can do downsells. I completely am okay with you guys doing that, but that's a little bit more advanced. But just to show you guys how it works. So upsell is when you upsell a client after they purchase that core offer. Now you're going to give them another offer with a headline that builds curiosity. You still giving them value, and then you being able to close that sale. So again, hook, story, offer. All right. So that's going to be your upsell. And if they don't buy that upsell, you can do a downsell. So let's just say if you had an upsell for, I don't know, $200, and they don't buy it. Now, the next one can be that downsell to where you say, okay, this is so important, and I really, really want you to take this test because, again, this saves thousands of people's lives. So what I'm willing to do is not offer it to you for $200. I'm willing to take $100 off, So now you're like, oh my gosh, you took $100 off. So now if they purchase, now we have a greater chance of getting an upsell because we took a discount off and we downselled it, okay? So it went from an upsell to now a downsell, you see? It's almost like when you go to like a a jewelry store, and you see something that you like, and then the cash register guy, he goes like, hey, if you want it, I'll give it to you for 20% off. And then you're just like, I'm okay. And then as you're walking out the store, right, he says, you know what, I give it to you for 50% off. And you're just like, yeah, I just don't think that I can afford that right now. And then he's like, wait, you know what? I'm going to get my manager. Manager comes out. Manager says, listen, I'm gonna give this to you right now for 70% off. Now that person that's been looking at it that liked it is gonna be like 70% off. Oh my gosh, it comes down to this amount. So now that's how the downsell works. Okay, so we're giving you that same thing you wanted, but not for the price that you saw it marketed for. Okay, that's the downsell. Then obviously is going to be the thank you page. So we're now thanking the patients for booking the appointment with us. We'll have a phlebotomist reach out so that we can confirm the appointment. And that's going to be it for the thank you page. Okay, that's it. So last but not least, phlebotomist, and I got it all in the green right here, but then you're like, wait, oh my gosh, like we're at the end. Yes. So the end is going to be the workflow process. Okay. So when you actually wake up to notifications of people paying for your services, now we have to input their information because on these funnels, the person is going to put their first name, their last name, email address, all that shipping information because we have to ship the actual kits to the patient for them to, receive the blood collection from the phlebotomist. So we need to take their information that they gave to us on our funnel, plug it into Rupa, okay, so that Rupa can then drop ship that specific kit to the patient, okay? So we input the patient's information, we pay for it, Rupa drop ships it to their house. We set up a patient appointment so that we can, collect that patient sample, draw the sample and specimen, and then we ship it to the laboratory. That's it. That's the business model, guys. Okay. So again, it's been done for decades already, but we phlebotomists never had a system to where we can do it for ourselves and cut the middleman out. Because there's laboratories that you're working for already, third-party labs, okay, that you're working for, and you're already doing this exact system, but for them, because they have a system. So you've been in their system the entire time. What we're going to do is pull you out of their system for you to create your own system for your own mobile phlebotomy business so that you can get your own customers, see your own patients, and make your own money on your own time, okay? So this is going to be literally a bird's eye view of everything, all right? So you can just see where you are in the process, what you need to do next, and know how to maneuver throughout this whole entire mobile phlebotomy business journey, okay? Hope this was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, shoot me over a message. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff so that you can learn more on starting your phlebotomy business. And I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? See ya.